Hey guys, my name's Anthony Mascia, and today I'm going to take you behind the lyrics of my song Genesis, so stay tuned to check it out. Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and thank you so much for coming on back to my channel. First and foremost, I apologize for the huge gap in delay of me posting videos. I put up all the songs a couple weeks ago and then kind of fell off. I've been planning to do this video and to kind of start this series for a while now, but I do have a little bit of a cold and I did get a little bit sidetracked with work and stuff, but now I'm ready to dive back in and bang these videos out for you guys. So this is going to be a start of a new series where I'm going to talk about the lyrical content of all of my songs. The songwriting is the most important part to me. Everything tells a story. I was super specific about everything down to the word of every single verse. And I want to be able to explain that to you guys because I think that the songwriting component is what makes the songs relatable. And it's what really tells the story from start to finish. I think certain albums are written in a way that they do tell a cohesive story from start to finish. And even though this EP explores a lot of different sounds, it does tell a cohesive story. So today we're going to start that journey and we're going to start it off with the title track, Genesis. Before we dive into that, I just wanted to take a minute to thank you guys so much for the love and support. All of the comments that I've read, all of the positivity, it's brought such a smile to my face. And even if you just listened to one of the songs for 10 minutes on YouTube and didn't take the time to download it or purchase it, I still appreciate it. I appreciate feedback, whether it's good or bad. It's the only way that I'm going to grow from this. And I hope that going forward that more people just kind of get on the bandwagon, more people share their feedback with me. If you guys do enjoy it, please continue to stream, download, purchase it. The more that you guys put into that, it's going to come back to me and I'm going to be able to give you guys better, more impressive music in the future. And I'm really excited about future music that I have planned. So let's dive into the lyrics. So for this track, it's actually the song structure starts off with the chorus. So the chorus is what I'm going to be talking about first. I'm going to read it to you guys and then I'm going to tell you kind of what gave me this idea and then we'll go through it verse by verse. So the chorus reads, I laid myself to rest, buried the worst and kept the best. Sat back and observed the light, closed kingdom gates on my former life. I tossed and turned for 6 days, eager to write the chapters my way. Day 7 enacted my sentiment, cue my Genesis. So this song, Genesis, I know a lot of you may have noticed that the first song of this EP is titled Genesis, which has a little bit of a biblical undertone to it. And there's some other biblical references and symbolism in my songwriting that I will talk about in the individual segments. But the reason that I wanted to name this Genesis is when I kind of decided that this whole EP was going to be about a rebirth. It was going to be about a fresh start, somebody within me that I felt like I had suppressed a little bit or didn't have the confidence to share with the world that I was sort of letting out. And that was, I felt like it was a very powerful world. It meant a new beginning, a fresh start, a rebirth. And I just thought it was a powerful word. Sometimes when I'm writing songs, I will actually name the song before I even write it. I did that with Purgatory. I did that with Facade. I did that with Revelation in a little bit of a different way, which I'll talk about later. But sometimes if a word really catches my attention, I will write down that word and that will sort of inspire the songwriting. And then I'll know to link it back to that in the chorus. So this whole song is based on a fictional story of the creation stories of the book of Genesis in the Bible. Not saying that the creation stories in the book of Genesis are fictional, but this is sort of my interpretation of them, sort of me taking it and adding my own creative approach to it. So in the Bible, God created the heavens and the earth, everything in 7 days, technically 6 days, and then he rested on the 7th day. So I took God resting on the 7th day as my interpretation that he rested on the 7th day to allow people to recreate themselves into who they want to be. Hence a rebirth, hence this song, hence me sort of putting out my intentions of this song of who I am, who I've been suppressing, and who I really want to be. I know that kind of goes against the Bible and Catholicism a little bit because technically there's this whole notion that we're made in God's image and likeness and we're not supposed to really tamper with who we are because technically you were made by somebody who is a perfect being. But I do feel like in the grand scheme of things, it's not the reality that everybody's totally happy with who they are. It is normal to have insecurities. It is normal to have things about yourself that you want to change, whether it be your personality, whether it be physical things, whether it be just sort of your mental output. There's a lot of things that people want to change about themselves. So I took this song as sort of a creative approach to the Genesis creation stories in the Bible. So going through that chorus line by line, I laid myself to rest, buried the worst, and kept the best. It's saying I took the parts of my former self that I didn't like and sort of locked those away. If I were to like put them in a drawer and lock it up, or I don't want to be morbid and say literally like put it in a casket and put it underground. But in a way, it's like I'm laying the former parts of myself that I do not like to rest, and I'm moving forward with only good parts of myself and the parts of myself that I hope I will continue to discover going forward. Sat back and observed the light close kingdom gates on my former life. I liked the vocabulary close kingdom gates because it makes me think of the kingdom of heaven. So it's saying I'm closing the kingdom gates, the kingdom of heaven, only light going forward. Everything behind those gates is the parts of myself that I've laid to rest and that I don't want to see going forward. So it's only light going forward, kingdom gates, only heaven. I tossed and turned for 6 days, eager to write the chapters my way. That line specifically saying that, you know, throughout those 6 days that God is creating the heavens, the earth, animals, light, the universe, I'm tossing and turning, just waiting for the moment on that 7th day when he rests, that I can recreate myself into exactly who I want to be. Day 7 enacted my sentiment, cue my Genesis. And I like those words, cue my Genesis, excuse me. I feel like it's really powerful. I feel like at that point, I'm going to do different videos that talk about the instrumentation and the production of each song. But after I say cue my Genesis, there's like a little bit of a beat drop. And in this song in particular, it's that kind of Middle Eastern world influence sounding type beat that I specifically chose because I almost wanted this to sound like if you were walking through the streets of Old Jerusalem. Like, this is not a religious song in the sense that it's a Christian song. It might have some Christian undertones to it, but none of my music is necessarily Christian music or Catholic music or anything like that. But it does have a little bit of an undertone of that, and I wanted the production to be representative of that. So that's why I liked those words, cue my Genesis. So moving into the first verse, it says, woke up after you parted the sky, the wind blew over my face and helped me say goodbye. So it's saying day 7, I woke up, I am now in the process of recreating myself into exactly who I want to be. The wind blew over my face as God sort of parted the world, created the universe, made the light, the heavens, everything like that. And it's saying all of that in the process helped me to say goodbye, which leads into the next verse. To that guy that I formerly knew, authenticity rose amidst the ocean blue. So with the creation of the ocean, I just felt like it's all very powerful. Like if you think about light emerging for the first time, the ocean emerging for the first time, the universe, the wind, and sort of God parting all of that to give way to myself and who I wanted myself to be. So it's all just like powerful lyrics that lend itself to that. Then the next lines read, angelic by nature with devilish curiosity, a master of pleasure, reciprocation set me free. Modern in taste, yet rich with ancient antiquity, fulfill the prophecy, save me. So I actually wrote that as a poem. A lot of this song, the verse that's really similar to that and the second verse of this song was also part of the poem. I was originally going to start off the EP with more of like a spoken word type of song that was going to sort of set forth my intentions for the EP, and I wanted to do something that was like really artistic and cool and like a poem. But I just decided to break that up and take fragments of that and put it into a song. So this is kind of the section of the song where I put forth my intentions of who I want, this person that I'm recreating, who is that person? He's angelic by nature, but we all still have a little devil on our shoulder that keeps us curious. A master of pleasure, yet reciprocation set me free. I think that line kind of speaks for itself. Modern in taste, yet rich with ancient antiquity. So it's almost like opposites. It's like you can be an angel with a little bit of a devilish curiosity. You can be modern in taste, yet still rich like an old antique. And it's saying fulfill the prophecy. It's saying that if this is the intentions that I'm putting out into the universe is going to fulfill this prophecy. I'm kind of a big believer in what you put out there does come back to you. I'm a big believer in karma, all of that. So that's what that line is saying. It's saying Whoever's hearing this in the universe, fulfill this prophecy. These are the intentions that I'm setting out. Then we move into the chorus again, and then we move into the second verse, which says, restored by the palette of life, the color and nakedness refreshed and renewed my eyes. So that's sort of a little bit of a connotation to the creation stories in the book of Genesis with Adam and Eve. With that line specifically that says, the color of nakedness refreshed and renewed my eyes. In the book of Genesis, Adam and Eve were not aware that they were naked until they ate from the tree of knowledge, and then they were made aware of their nakedness. Now, in the actual story in the Bible, when they are aware of their nakedness, that's when they become ashamed. But I'm kind of putting that to the side, and I'm just saying the color of nakedness, this sort of blank canvas that I see for myself, this clean slate is refreshing and renewing my eyes. And I'm restored by the palette of life. I'm seeing everything and feeling everything as if I'm experiencing it for the first time. It's like all of the colors are more colorful because I'm seeing them for the first time. All the smells are more powerful because I'm experiencing them for the first time. That's what that section is about. Then it says, let there be light inside of you. Don't be afraid to light the match that guides you through. I think that's a really powerful line. It's something that I talk about a little bit in Purgatory as well. There's a line in Purgatory that says, the path before me fades. It was clear as day. Now the fog of sin cascades. So this is kind of linked to that in the sense that if you have a path before you and it's dark, but you know that the path is a path that you need to go down to experience something, sometimes you got to be the one to bite the bullet and light the match yourself and have that light that's going to guide you down that path. And that's exactly what this is saying. It's saying, take the light that's inside of you, use it to shine around you, and then other people are going to come with you on that journey once you lead the way. But somebody's not always going to have to pave the way for you. You're going to have to pave the way for yourself sometimes. And then this moves into the pre-chorus like before, where I'm sort of setting out those intentions into the universe. It says, I yearn fulfillment, confidence, courage, and clarity. Those three words, the three C's, however you want to remember them, were super important to me when writing the CP. Because it's like, if I had to use three words to sum up what I wanted to get out of the CP, it's those three words: confidence, courage, and clarity. I wanted clarity about my future, clarity about my career, clarity about these choices that I've been making this past year. Is it leading me towards a greater path? I had a reading with a psychic not too long ago, and I've kind of known that I've always been a person with multiple paths. I'm not saying that everything that psychics say is 100% true and you should take that as the word of God, but I've always been somebody who's had a lot of broad interests, and I've always kind of, even though I thought I always wanted to be a doctor, and I still do love medicine and I'm very passionate about it, I am somebody who's always had a lot of other interests, and I know I've always had multiple paths. So the word clarity to me is so important because you want clarity to know that you're choosing the right path. And I think that's something that a lot of people have experienced. You know, there's poems out there, The Road Less Traveled By. There's just a lot of people who've been through that. So clarity is an intention that I really wanted. Confidence, I wanted to feel confident with myself. I'm not the most confident person. I'm getting more confident with my songwriting. I'm getting more confident with my voice. Having shared this all has made me more of a confident person, but I'm not really there yet. And then courage, just the courage to do this all. So confidence, courage, and clarity are the three intentions that I was setting out there, and that really sum up the CP. I envy karma because she knows my fate and destiny. There's only really two things that I want to know in this world, and I think a lot of people want to know. What is my fate and destiny? Is this my destiny? Is this going to lead to something greater? Am I going to remain in this stagnant place for a long period of time? Everybody wants to know really what's going to happen to them, if they're going to be fulfilled. So I'm saying I envy karma because in a way I use karma as a being who sort of knows everything. And I am a big believer, like I said, in what you put out does come back to you. So I like that line specifically. Right hand on the Bible, I solemnly swear to take a knee as I pick up where you left off on day 6 after creating me. So this, again, like I said, this fictional story that I've created, God created the heaven and the earth in 6 days, sits back on his throne and rests on the 7th day so that I can recreate myself into exactly who I want to be. This is saying, right hand on the Bible, I solemnly swear that as soon as you rest, I'm going to jump in there and make myself the person exactly who I want to be. Then we have a chorus again, and then we move into the bridge, which I love this section. This kind of like sums everything up. I use a bridge as an important moment where if somebody really, if you're being a little bit vague in your verses and a little bit vague in your chorus, and you're kind of getting to the punchline of the song where somebody might not know what you're saying and you really need to explain it, the bridge is the place to do it. So I wrote, made in his image and likeness, I'm not denying that, but what if I don't like the image that I have to face looking back? I think that that's an extremely important line in this song. Like I said before, I totally understand that as Catholics or as Christians, we believe that we are made in God's image and likeness. We were made by a perfect being. And even though nobody's perfect, we all have original sin, things like that, there is a part of us that should be content with who we are because of how we were created. And we were made in love and made in God's image and likeness. But like I said, that's not really reality. People have things about themselves that they don't like, whether it be physical, mental, spiritual. We all have things about ourselves that we want to change. So that line says, even though I'm made in God's image and likeness, the person that I'm looking at and the reflection that I see back at me in the mirror might not be who I like. And it's okay that I want to change that. The same hands that made me can end me. Omnipotence draws the line. The line I will cross on day 7. I'm blessed, but I can't be confined. So it's saying the same hands that made me can end me. This omnipotent, powerful being, God, who brought all of us into the universe, has the power to make you and has the power to break you. And in a sense, with this song, I'm tampering with that a little bit. I'm sort of tampering with the universe and tampering with the way the things are how we're meant to be, and I'm putting my own 2 cents on that. So that's what that line says, and saying the line I will cross on day 7, I'm blessed, but I can't be confined. This person that I've been repressing inside of me that's been dying to break free cannot be confined any longer. And that's what those lyrics right there are saying. And then the next 4 lines say, I'm blessed, but I can't be confined. I rose with a vision refined. My genesis can't be maligned. I'm blessed, but I can't be confined. I really like that rhyme scheme there. I think it really flows really nicely, but it's saying, I cannot be confined. I rose as this new person with a refined sense of clarity, with a refined sense of vision of what I want. I know exactly what I want now, and I'm not going to do anything to stop at attaining that. My genesis cannot be maligned. It's saying that anybody that's maligned me in the past, anybody that's taken jabs at me, any hurt that I've received that I've let really get to me can't bother me no more, because my genesis, this rebirth going forward, cueing this genesis, nobody's going to tamper with that. I'm blessed, but I can't be confined. And then we move into the chorus again, which repeats twice. And then the final chorus of the song, which is a little bit more of like a gospel interpretation of the chorus, just is the same chorus, but it changes the word scheme and kind of the syllables of everything to make it fit. So it sort of sums it up. It says, I laid myself to rest, buried the worst and kept the best, sat back, observed the light, closed kingdom gates on my past life. Tossed and turned for 6 days, eager to write chapters my way. Day 7, that's my cue. My genesis is now my truth. That was really important for me to have as the last line of the song. My genesis is now my truth. It's saying that everything going forward, I am living authentically. I am living my truth, and this rebirth, it's not fictional. It's not just a phase. It's not something that I'm going to be over in a couple minutes and then I'm going to want to be reborn again. It's almost, this song is almost like having a second shot at life. And I know that sounds really dramatic and over the top, and I have not lived a bad life, and it's not like I'm trying to burn the past and get rid of everything that's been my life. But I think that we all, if you're lucky enough, you're given the opportunity to maybe want to set free somebody that's been inside of you, and you want to live authentically, and it's a risk, but I'm a big believer in you got to take the risk, otherwise you're going to lose the chance. So that kind of sums up what this whole song is about. Day 7, that's my cue. This is your time. This is your make it or break it moment. Blank or get off the pot. My genesis is now my truth. So that was really important for me to end on that line. And even though this song is kind of based on a fictional story, it seems so true to me and it makes sense to me. And like I said, there might be things in here that sort of go against church teaching, but this is not meant to be a Catholic song. This is not meant to be a Christian song. It has biblical influence, and I love to use a lot of biblical symbolism in my writing, but that's not really the root of this song. So that sums up Genesis. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this behind the lyrics segment. If you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. Comment down below. I would love to know if there's any specific lyrics that sort of connect with you. I would love to know if this gave you a new view of the song. I would also really like to know from a songwriting perspective, When you heard this song, did you think it was about something else? Was I clear in the story that I was telling? If it didn't make sense when you first heard it, does it make sense now? Because that's sort of, sometimes when I write things, they're super clear to me, but they're also super personal. So they might be things that I can only understand. And sometimes I wonder if I'm conveying it well in my songwriting, or if it's just very vague and ambiguous and nobody really knows what my songs are about. Because that's not what I want. I want you guys to be able to connect with my songs, and they might have various meanings. How it applies to me might not be how it applies to you. I think Purgatory is a wonderful example of that, and I think Revelation is a great example of that. I'm really excited to talk about those songs, but I think that even though they might have different meanings, you should still be able to understand it in some sort of context. So please let me know if this made sense either before this video, after this video, or both of them combined, if it made sense through and through. And if you would like to see videos where I talk about the production of the song, the actual song structure, the melody, my hand was in everything. 100% of the songwriting is me. 100% of the melody is me. I did work with a producer on 4 of these 6 songs who did have a major part in the making of this EP, but I said exactly which instruments I wanted, what elements I wanted, when I wanted things to come in, when I wanted things to leave. We went back and forth with pages and pages of revision. So everything that you hear, whether you like it or not, I'm accountable for it. And I want to know what you guys think of that. So if it would be interesting for you to hear behind the scenes of that, please let me know. And I will definitely see you guys in my next video. Bye.